Boring. Ugh, I'm bored, Mum. This just is not as fun as school. Does this describe your children every day? Do they sit there and go, ugh, I really don't like this experience I'm going through? Well, hello and welcome to How Do I Homeschool. My name is Rebecca Devitt and today we're going to be talking about what you can do about it. Before you start down this path, I think it's really good to acknowledge that a lot of children who have just started homeschooling from having been in school find that homeschool is a little bit boring because it is a much slower pace, and therefore a lot of homeschool children do actually learn a lot better academically at home, but it can be a little bit boring as the pace slows down a lot. But children will get used to that, so keep that in mind. Also, before you get started and start looking at how you can make your homeschool more fun, try to define what boring is. Perhaps they don't like sitting at a table. Perhaps they're not seeing enough of their homeschool friends. Perhaps they don't like the worksheets that you're giving them to do. And perhaps they have unrealistic expectations of what homeschool is going to be like. Make sure when you're talking about what boring means that you actually actively listen to your child and really address their concerns. By doing this, you can also jot down some ideas to make your homeschool more interesting. Now, don't just reflex, okay, let's do this and this and this. Have some time to think it over. Think about how you can perhaps change up your homeschool a little bit differently. Perhaps they need a new curriculum. Perhaps you need to look at a whole new learning or homeschool style for your child because they're not gelling with the one they're currently using. Here are some ways to make your homeschool a little bit more interesting so your kids don't think homeschool is so boring. Instead of homeschooling for multiple hours during the day, take more recess breaks. And then if you're homeschooling for perhaps 4 hours a day for a very young child, consider reducing your homeschool hours and wondering about if the amount of homeschool hours you're doing is appropriate for that child. Sometimes subjects like math can be quite dry, especially if they're just taught out of a textbook with no variant to that. So consider adding some games to your homeschool to make things more interesting. Consider adding field trips to your day excursions to make things more interesting. You can also change things up and give children a chance to socialize a little bit more by joining a homeschool co-op so children get to do their lessons with other children. This is a great opportunity for you as a parent to also get to know other homeschool parents and seek their wisdom on how to make your homeschool more interesting. You can also look at changing curriculum. So if your child is finding it too easy and the material is boring, then you can up them a grade. You can look at completely changing to a curriculum which is a little bit harder, or perhaps they're just not gelling with the teaching method that homeschool curriculum employs. So look at another curriculum. You can also look at cutting out a lot of the review activities. So curricula like a Becker and like BJU often have a lot of review questions at the end. You can just cut them out. If your child is like, I already know this is boring, we're doing it again, then you can just cut that out, and you as the parent have to make that decision about what to cut out and what not to. Also, why don't you ask your child about what they want to do to make homeschool more fun? Put the responsibility on their shoulders to make it more interesting, and that might just be your answer.